Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. This is Mark O'Brien from CM First, and I wanted to welcome you all to our CM First Group AI Day, which has been in planning for a little bit. I'm just going to kind of serve as the master of ceremonies today. We've got a full multiple presentations and other events and demos will occur during the day. We'll start off with John Rhodes talking about AI overview and introductions and key AI concepts, and a group discussion on AI and daily software engineering work. And that's the beginning here. And then so apologies for the delay. I think the Amazon AWS outage has affected some of our stuff. But everyone who's registered will get copies of these presentations. And a combination of we've got key customers and partners and other people involved with this whole day event. So the idea is to have it interactive, keep it the flow light, and interested in sharing ideas, concepts, and it's a two-way path. And so in the morning we'll get the kind of the basics down, and then we'll have a lunch break, and then at 1:30 this afternoon, these are all Central Daylight Time timings. We'll be sharing our Evolve IT roadmap update and roadmap, and demonstrate a number of new features and a preview there. Then followed by 2:30, we'll have one of our most important strategic partners, A&I Solutions, will be talking about their Scout IT, which is an agentic workforce solution. Going into a dive on that. And then from 3:30 on, we'll just basically be recapping during the day and talking about key initiatives and feedback, and open and honest feedback here with everybody. So thank you very much. This time I'm going to turn it over to John Rhodes, who's going to talk in a little more detail about what's going on with their AI overview and key AI concepts.
All right, thanks, Mark. Yeah, what I thought we'd try to do is start off with just going around the room a bit to each company anyway, and giving a brief intro, talk about how you might be using AI currently and how it's working or not working in your daily work, and what maybe your plans are briefly, and what you're trying to get out of today. That might be good. Unfortunately, I don't know if remote people are able to participate directly, but if you're remote, you can maybe do this in the chat. We're going to try to fix our problems and get this going, at least for the next presentation. But I'll start out, I guess, for CM First. We started AI, I think it was January 2023 from Mike Kyoshi. We went to a conference around big data, and around, we go to every year, around graph data and then data analytics, and they had AI as a topic, and they had like 2 or 3 speakers. They're like, wow, this is crazy, you know, what you can do. I really had heard of it, but I never really thought to try it. So that's when we got into it about 2.5 years ago, and at first didn't make much progress at all, and seemed like it was more of a hindrance than a help, to be honest, because we get some stuff right as far as code conversion goes, and other stuff would just be useless, right? And separating the wheat from the chaff was kind of difficult. But we kept at it, and have incorporated that into our products, and looked a little bit, of course, in other areas like marketing. But really, it has a promise, obviously. That's why billions and trillions of dollars are going into it, we think. And we're just now getting into agentic AI, and with our partners, A&I, trying to see how that will work for us. We think it will. So I think that's kind of our experience, and we're focused really on code conversion. Anything to add, Roger, Kyoshi, Mark, anything about CM First?
No, I think that covered pretty well, man.
Okay, maybe Abram?
Yeah. So yeah, with Wafr, we are shipping logistics company, and For example, we use AI to help us analyze, they're called commercial invoice documents. It's basically a document you get from a steamship line that you give to customs. And when I started with this, the most insane thing is there's literally no standardization. Everyone sends you a different thing. Some of them are PDF, some are literally JPEG scans of PDF. And having someone hand enter that is mistake prone and time consuming. So we try to implement using Azure's document AI stuff. They have an invoice model in itself, so we don't have to train anything. And we have it just kind of scan them, and we take the JSON that it dumps out, and I dump it to some tables. And essentially, when the user then goes to try to validate the data, I pre-populate it. They can then check and make sure everything looks okay. Problems with that is it is not fast. It is, even a small invoice takes upwards of 30 seconds to 2 minutes, depending on it. And having someone sit back and wait interactively for that, even though it's just 30 seconds of their time, if they're doing it 1,000 times a day, that sucks. That's really bad. So our solution beyond that was to, because we get these documents in and sent to us all the time. And so every 10 minutes or so, I just have a batch process I trigger that does the analysis and dumps to the database. So it'll be ready to go by the time they try to do it. Reviews have been good and bad. As most people have seen who's messed with AI, hallucination is a problem. Its analysis isn't always accurate, but I do feel like this is one of the few things that AI is really made for. It's not something we're trying to shoehorn AI into doing. Just have it look at 1,000 things and look at patterns and recognize those patterns and use that to parse information. That I feel like is what AI is built for. Again, though, just very funny things about it is it gives its own confidence score for the thing it analyzed, but there's no confidence score for the confidence score, or the confidence score for the confidence score of the confidence score. So you don't really know. That number might be meaningless. But for the most part, it's helped us at least give the users something to where they don't have to key in everything. The thing that we really had to battle against, though, is users being too trusting of it and just quick scanning it and not looking at anything in depth. And we get a lot of false positives or things like that based on them saying it's okay and it's not really. But yeah, that's our main thing so far. The document, and we have another document I'm currently working on too, but nothing's in production yet.
You do training?
Hmm?
You do training?
We thought about it, but it's just like the scary part is if you ever screw up your large language model, there's literally no recovering it. So we would rather stick with the actual one that also probably has 1,000 monkeys on a typewriter, other people using this and improving it. So while there are some specific things for the thing we're using, the risk of training our own we feel is too high. There you go.
Thank you, Abram.
Yep.
Thanks.
Yeah, so Mike Barty, I work with Paccarini. We're a logistics company as well. And really it's about the same as what you're doing, except we're going with an outside tool. They expose an API. We send our documents in to that. They do the grinding of it, and then we get it back. Same thing, JSON file with the output, confidence score. So far, ours as well is just in the analysis phase. But hopefully within the next 2 months, we'll be able to go live with it. But it is much better, as Abram said, than the keying in of all the data. And definitely going to save the users a lot of time. So
How's y'all's process speed and what you're using?
they're kicking it back within 10 seconds or so.
Oh, wow.
So,
What service is it?
my Vivos,
Okay, I don't know that one.
they're out of Germany.
Okay.
You guys do any code conversion or
Yeah,
code?
rewrite your typical, writing snippets of it and giving you a head start.
Visual Studio.
Oh, also, my boss is listening and he wanted to correct something I said. We also use Copilot for executive management and our IT teams as well. So, but most of that's just internal items. The more stuff that we use, it's not necessarily customer facing, but customer interacting.
Yeah.
The documents is mainly what we're doing. Thanks for correcting me, Zlaka.
So he's here. He's here.
Hearing at least. Okay, that's good.
Good, that's good.
Yep.
Confirmation.
AI.
Hi, guys. I'm John Balsam, President of ANI Solutions. Been a long-time partner with CM First. Thanks for having us here. Excited to hear what everybody has to say. The AI journey, right, as everybody knows, we've been at this probably about 18 months. A lot of ups and downs of hallucinations and being lied to and craziness. Things keep on getting better and better. We really dove into it. As a company, we're a Broadcom partner, so we resell their products and services to support their products. AI, we know, is a gap for Broadcom and Broadcom solutions, so we actually built our own solution, especially focusing on the enterprise monitoring space. So in observability, adding AI on top of the data that we're collecting from all their products. And so we kind of evolved with that, our own product, our own learning. We're using AI for working on the data from the solutions, the analysis, better root cause analysis, all that kind of good stuff. With that, learning to build out our own AI solution, agentic army, and stuff like that. We'll also talk about how, so as we use AI for internal chat, right? The philosophy is AI first, AI always, right? And fight through the pain points that we're all experiencing. But it's chat, it's process, it's modern code development, and definitely modernization for those people that are using mainframe and stuff like that. So it is quite a journey. That train has left the station. It's coming hard for 2026. So it'll be fun. It'll be an interesting year for sure. JP and Doug, you guys want to add anything to that?
I was going to say for people in the room that ANI Solutions, JP is one of their senior account executives, and I work with JP. So John has been a broad line distributor of basically anything the CA was selling. They resell to indirect accounts. So from that standpoint, we handle the TUI and the Plex specific businesses and so forth, and then we're broadening out into some other product lines.
Yeah, that's where our partnership is rooted, right? The 2E and the Plus, and then
It's just helpful to be able to give people straight answers quickly and early in the process when they have an issue about something,
yeah, and now we hope to expand, between Evolve It and Static. So.
Yes, we have a couple of customers on the line, and I apologize. We were not able to let you speak at the moment. We'll try to correct that for later.
They can use the chat block.
But yeah, if there's any kind of input that you have on what you're trying to get out today, you want to just put it in the chat, we can try to react to that. And sorry about the tech problems, but I guess we'll proceed. Hey, super. That's pretty good input. I thought it's interesting stuff for sure. Yeah, I know at least one customer on the line is doing a lot of code conversion analysis anyway. Okay. So I said one kind of topic to mention, I guess, and I think ANI brought to my attention last week about what you said exactly. This to John, I think that you said if AI only did legacy code conversion, that'd be $1 trillion market.
Wow, right?
Wow. I couldn't find exactly that quote, but then the market is just massive. I mean, and there's all kinds of stuff coming out, but there's 30 million software developers around the world, and if they're bringing $100,000 worth of value over their salary, and value for that's $3 trillion right there, right? And will AI double or triple that eventually? I think probably. No, not right now. Certainly, maybe 20% for some. Some people say it actually wastes time, but I think most people say it helps, right? I mean, we certainly find that it'll help some. But from a modernization perspective, there's so much code just in COBOL, 800 billion lines, Micro Focus said. That's, that's just COBOL. It's not Fortran. That's not PHP. So yeah, the legacy code conversion is just a massive problem. I think we all have, including CM First, a lot of code that's in maybe C++ and other languages we'd rather not have, right? And speaking for our customers, we know a lot of them have, including some on the line, that have 100 million lines of COBOL or RPG or other legacy code. And it is a massive cost. Without AI, costs are in the $2 to $26 per line. That's what Gartner says anyway, to modernize it. That includes everything, not just the conversion, but also you have testing, you have adaptations to make it work on modern hardware, modern browsers, and of course you have infrastructure, AWS running the mainframe RivaMI temporarily while you're modernizing over maybe a 2 or 3 year period. So it's a pretty big cost. So if AI can bring that cost down from $2 to 10 cents, 50 cents even, that's a big thing. That usually adds up to $1 trillion, probably more than $1 trillion, several trillion problem. So it is a big problem. I think we all have this problem, I think, and I think it's going to grow over the next few years. So the solutions are going to grow and hopefully solve the problem. Super. So I guess we had just some topics on AI, or this kind of not a tutorial, but a review. I'm sure everyone's studied or seen it anyway about what an LLM is, what an agent is. But we're going to kind of walk through that and kind of level set and get people's input too on each of these topics. So let's keep it interactive. Who's gonna? Kiyoshi. Okay, so I'm gonna try to share. Hopefully this works.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay, so I'm Kiyoshi, worked for CM First, probably 7, 8 years. So, well, myself, AI first start is kind of, I had an opportunity to play with natural language processing for Japanese, which is a little crazy language to do compared with English because no space between words. So when I was involved in that kind of session, so that's pre-GPT-4 era or pre-AI era. So people working very hard to making tokenizer and lots of things, but then coming all of a sudden AI showing up, then well, first the professor of course kind of hesitated, etc. But they said, yeah, it cannot be and what they do. So, but that's first AI exposure for me. Anyway, so well, I know it's probably after 2-3 years, so probably AI is more close to you, more techy people, more even just using. So I skipped this part, but explain well terminology, but very quick. So large language model, which is just a model you use when you use API. I mean AI means, and it could be open source. You can host on your house or paid version like a service you do, like a ChatGPT, etc. And you have these model, lots of model available, and some people do the fine tune, which is you teach your organization or your private data, etc. It's a little advanced what people doing, and okay, and then prompt. So lots of things, very early days. AI means prompt engineering. That's all about first at the beginning. Well, prompt means just how good you ask AI to do things. So basically, if you writing good detailed thing, you ask, you get AI response to you better. And that's almost like AI is very plain like a baby or kids. Then if you teach step or what you want more detail, he or she responds you the way, but if you just skip some stuff, well, he or she cannot answer. Well, token is probably only issue. Maybe you hit the token limit. I think per minute or whatever. But there's the kind of like a speed limit for the car, so the vendor kind of restricting the token. It's a more configurable thing. If you hosting a house, the token limit can be jumped if your hardware is done. Okay. Well, just some other supporting technologies or fine tuning. So you teach the model something to get private. Basically, because of AI trained, most likely public domain data. So you don't know, he doesn't know me. I'm not that famous, and the corporation private information, your OCR information, your invoice, they don't know. So if you could train, that's may improve stuff. Is that me? Okay, there's some maybe. Okay, RAG. So this is kind of other technique, not do fine tuning, but you prepare the data or your stuff pre-indexed and then make it available. So it's not really AI technology, it's just a pre-indexing your private data to there. And then it's part of, I will later describe that, but so it's basically pre-index your data. And short memory, that's probably now some big concept. Again, this is not directly AI does, but supporting help the AI, and you ask something, you get the answer, but your answer could be stored to the code memory, which is typically graph memory database. So instead of keeping the AI token to remember your stuff, you kind of have a short life in knowledge base, right? Knowledge graph base, right? And then it's just a go to there instead of relying on the AI history. Okay. So far, good. Okay, so just go to the building because it's technology things, but I just do general thing. Okay, so first, there are some interests, maybe too close, too small, but so this is just a everybody chat playground. Okay, but it's just invoking LLM locally. I mean LLM service. Okay, so I ask what time in Japan now. Okay, so sorry, it's small, but and then so this is the thing. AI actually doesn't know now. It's not the Japan Standard Time as a knowledge, but Japan, I mean, AI itself doesn't know about what time is right now. But if you go to Copilot, like the other thing, okay, if I ask same question, it's answer what time now, because there's lots of things going on behind. It's not just doing using LLM. I mean, so it's going to maybe web search or something else going on, but that's not part of AI. AI order, you maybe go to there to find the Japan time. So that's kind of like different because of just using LLM in your layer, or you maybe combine with other technique to let the help AI. Okay. Get back to the slide. So based on that, so there may be more than that, but I say just 3 lists here. So using AI to build applications. So just use LLM API. That's what I showed. Just asking question to directly to there. Well, that's probably more straightforward. Probably could be prompt engineering. Okay. And then the next layer is so you create the application using AI. So mainly AI workflow, which is lots of people probably doing. And then the other thing is AI agent application. So I go cover agent today. just to pick up the subject. So what's the difference between the workflow and the agent? So, well, this is what I talk about, the AI model limitation. So actually, AI doesn't know now, or AI cannot do task for you, etc. So AI cannot send the email actually. You cannot, you get the recommendation, but you cannot buy on Amazon. Okay, and then, well, of course, you don't, the AI doesn't know now current information like a weather or whatever, because yeah, no one probably training every day, I think, to refresh. Okay. So now here I workflow and agent. So it's lots of confusion here. I say there's a clear difference. So because it's both kind of using term agent, it's kind of same concept. But the agent, my kind of explanation is that there's an agent versus AI agent. That's maybe two different easy way to say. So, but anyway, agent is asked to do something specific. It can be with AI, without AI, doesn't matter. It's just a kind of microservice way or just a regular API or service you have. That's kind of agent. So you have an email agent sending email. That's the task that agent does. And then, well, weather agent to tell the current information and tell the weather for that location. You can imagine behind, you invoke the email API or you invoke the website API, to get the weather. Okay, so it's common. So yeah, both aim to automation. So like a process to the some request to process, and then yeah, it's involved multiple components or multiple agents. So it's just a modularity. So combined with a lot of small pieces together, making the minimum to do for agent is maybe good. And yeah, integration, so you invoke like external API, or you maybe query database or whatever. And then sometimes you talk with the user. And then may use LLM so as well. And yeah, so that's kind of common thing. And then what's the difference between? So very clear kind of the AI workflow or any workflow is probably what we're doing for a long time for the logical programming thing. So, you define the step and you define the sequence of steps. That's most likely you do like if you have something and you get the if code equal 1 or code equal 2 or 2, 3, and you put the branching, that's what's next. That's workflow, and then we're doing a long time for the programming. But in the other hand, AI agent is AI agent granted to make a decision. So that's the difference. It's kind of clear. So basically, you ask a question, and then it tells program next step. So that's why kind of it's more controllable. Well, of course, but workflow is more controllable, more traditional way to use code. Maybe some case good, some big case maybe not. But yeah, so it depends. But if you predict anything, you maybe just do the workflow. But if you want to be more some big project or some large task, you maybe do the agent. And then yeah, so I think that Copilot is kind of, you can see that's happening in the AI agent behind, because I asked just what time, Japanese time, well then maybe the website search thing, the Bing API call is picked up and then go to search and then find out or something going on behind. Okay, so there's a memory about short term and long term. So it's basically remembering a lot of things and then repeating, and the agent talk to each other without you, kind of. So that's very difference. So just short summary. So AI workflow is like factory assembly line, which means step 1, step 2, step 3, and then so use AI maybe, but not AI doesn't make any decision for you. It's just that you define the step. Then in other hand, yeah, the agent is like individual, or you make a team for some project, and the individual has capability role, and then talk to other people, and then ask to someone to do something based on the step. So, well, this is like buying vending machine, the drink, or talk to bartender to get some drink based on some you're feeding with it. So that's kind of different. Right?
So how does the AI agent know with enough confidence that the decision that it might make
Well, that's
does
a hard.
not cause undue side effects,
Mhm. There's a,
other than self-grading it?
it's
Our
a,
customers just want to say
yeah,
self-grade.
there's of course some logical definition you need to do. Not let the AI give the freedom. At least at this point, who knows, the time comes, but yeah, still you control.
Yeah, it can launch the nukes with 70% confidence rate.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good. Yeah.
Well, go back to your point. So, and I didn't say this earlier, but we're also an Amazon partner, right? Which they're doing better today. But yeah, and we really we started just to be an Amazon partner with them, just really around focusing on AI, because we think it's all about ultimately the infrastructure. I think the other players, they all just kind of roll into, again, as we try to be like solution agnostic as a company and help our customers, that we know people are going to use AI from a lot of different sources, right? OpenAI, Anthropic, Microsoft, whoever, right? But the Amazon, we first went last year to their conference, and they're like, yeah, AI is at 8% confidence rate. Isn't that great? I was like, well, no, And then we went just last May, and they're like, hey, we're up to 90%. I'm like, well, that's not really great either, because who wants like 90% of your money in the bank account? Nobody, right? I want all of it. That's why, the customers that we deal with, they want, at an enterprise level, you need 100% accuracy, right? And so your question is dead on, right? In our world, right, if you get 10%, will absolutely tank either yourself or your competitors, hopefully your competitors, but yeah, it's got to be a lot better than just 90%. Yeah, 70%.
Well, decision-making is a combination of your gut, your industry experience, your career, and
Oh,
a
1000%.
number of different things depending on the situation and what the impact is, and how much can I delay before I have to absolutely make the decision, and so forth and so on.
And the impact on any small percentage of being wrong, like saying only 10% of the information is wrong, 10% of that information could be incredibly valuable and cost you
Which 10%
thousands of dollars. So, I mean,
What do you get for double checks? What do you do for double checks?
I mean, for this, we have to have just a user check it over. And then, I mean, there's several kind of points of failure, because there's data entry people. There are people who then look at this and analyze it to send the check out. So, I mean, there's several layers of people looking at this, and that's basically as good as we can, because at some point you have to be able to have a human level of trying to think of I'm blanking on the term I'm trying to say. Human level of responsibility, where you're saying the buck stops me, I did this action. Because if something goes wrong and you can say the AI screwed it up, well, that doesn't matter. You're still there's still a problem, and someone's still got to solve that problem. So, I mean, it is one of those things where I am a little skeptical that we're ever going to get to a point where you can say with 100% confidence, that is absolutely correct. I don't at least need a person double checking this. And I mean, as what we're using it for now, I think this works. And I think that works for what we want it to be and what we need it to do. Do I think it can get beyond that and we don't have to have the person double check it? I'm kind of doubting that. I don't see that happening, just because there's too many consequences for anything going wrong.
But it goes back to the whole theory of human in the loop and how much human in the loop.
Yeah,
Right, 'cause
I mean, it's
I'm
true.
sure you're getting like tremendous efficiency
Mhm.
for when it's working, when it, you know what I mean, but then you're catching, we're trying to catch that 30%. And I totally believe in the world of don't trust it. Trust but verify. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just something simple, like I came out of a AC/DC concert last, and I'm down there, and I'm sitting next to a friend of mine, I'm like, all right, what was the set list last night? So I asked ChatGPT, and he did the same thing, same solution, and we literally got two different answers sitting next to each other, asking at the same time, right? One was from last night. My friend got one from like, I don't know, 2 months ago or something like that. Pretty similar, but it's insane how.
I mean, it basically is like treat it like a coworker. You're gonna verify that person's work or anybody that's working under your team's work. Why wouldn't you verify this, you know? And I think that's just, like, I do code reviews for all my developers. I mean, that doesn't mean I don't trust their ability to code, but everybody makes mistakes. You have to be able to look at those things. So,
So part of that, though, is also knowing what to look for.
that's
And
true.
the different levels. I mean, you can ask AI to say, validate this. Well, what does validate mean, right? So, you know, I've done some test code conversion, right? And so you can ask it just to convert the code, and you tell it what the languages are, and it goes off and does a relatively poor job.
Right.
Or you say, you know, and validate this against the original code as a separate step, and it'll do that, and it'll get a little better. And then I can ask it to do a syntax check simulation, and it'll maybe find some syntax errors. And so, and then I can ask it to do a functional check, you know, so there's all kinds of levels of validation you can add, but getting, as you said, to 100% and never need to look at it. And in those cases, it's a little bit more difficult to figure out what you're looking for to find, right?
Mhm.
So obviously you got to test and debug as you would your own code in this case.
I mean, I don't trust humanity enough to do that. Like, I'm not gonna trust AI to do that either. And I don't feel like that's a knock on AI. I feel like that's just like a thing you should still be doing. We really have to fight the narrative, especially with users, of taking this as gospel. And you can't do that. It's just not.
Yeah. And actually, yeah, where you use AI, that's also a decision because like code validation or style checking, there's a bunch of tools available.
Mhm.
Just use that. It's more trustable because developers are using, not ask AI to
Mhm.
validate code.
Right.
So just what's when you use AI and when you use just your trust more logical thing, that's maybe also the thing. And also, you guys also introduced the percentage talk. So when you talk, those people, they talk about percent. And if you have logical
Mhm.
history of application, you are very black and white. Then the conversation people go to the same
Mhm.
same spot because they talk in 90%, 70%. That's about. So that's what's also interesting. Conversations have two different backgrounds, and yeah, both sides need to little refresh your way to think as well, because yeah, we're very logical, I believe. Data centric and very concrete, but need to little software change the direction. Yeah, but good open. Well, okay, so just well, I don't know if we'll get the benefit or not, but so just to explain what's going on behind just using Meta AI to decide something. So probably most of you know already, so a little small, but so well to do, I think have using two concepts. I mean, you can code or you can use some framework or library to help with that. But so you control the output for the AI by defining some structure output, which you can ask AI to return more, model, right? Not the text base. You ask something, but you get the result in the format base. So you can use it in the next step, which is program. And also calling concept of function. So this is kind of trick of the how AI let the AI make a decision. So, well, I don't know, I can do large here. Okay. So you define something like this way. So you define, so this is part of AI prompt, by the way. So you register, okay, I want to tell you, I have a get weather method. And then it's just ask the current temperature for the given location. Now, I want to have returned some data for output, but so it's kind of all the hint of what that means. And so AI use that as part of the consumed user request. And then if that's, they think it makes sense to use this guy to response, and then you get a different response. And then if I ask maybe who is Kiyoshi, then it's passed and it just go to normal route to do the response by LLM. So yeah, where? Okay, so this is more details. So like I said, get weather is nothing AI can do, but you predefine in your code what is get the weather. And it's asking the geometric location, and then it's API to return. And then what all you want is a latitude and longitude from AI. AI knows at least, I think, the location or whatever. And then when you call with a prompt, you register, okay, I have a tool, or maybe in this case agent, but I have tool to get weather, and then you define things, and then I want to have property of latitude and longitude, it's type is number, blah, 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 and it's both required field. Yep, so that's there. If you ask, define that way as part of your prompt, and then typing what is weather like in Paris today. So if you ask that question together, well then AI responds, okay, this is function called you register. You get weather is matched what you asked. So then it's returned the latitude and longitude to there. So of course you need to check this return thing, and if return AI return type is function call, then call get weather, that kind of. So get weather, and then it's invoked back to your code get weather method. And then, so yeah, sorry, this is what I'm talking about. So, and then it's invoking that API, and then it's return the data. I mean, I shortcut, but so API of course return only like a temperature, but I use the LLM to reformat the answer for like a more human friendly. But that's kind of basic. So if you can register more than one tool at C, you see this is array. So you can pre-register a lot of tools to do for your initial question. And then it's this AI kind of decide, this is a suitable path or suitable thing to do. And then obviously you still coding what's the response, and then based on that to navigate things. So it's kind of workflow, but who deciding what's next step is your question and your register tool and the AI deciding. So that's kind of, I mean, this is very low level. Most likely, if you use some language with a library or framework, you don't need to do this detail. It's more like there's a lot of help, but that's kind of what's going on under the cover. When you define more tools, it's give that thing. And the good or bad thing is if you ask something else, it just go to the normal path to return the text based answer. Well, you can define, I don't know, that kind of thing. If you ask something else, if you do it. Okay. Well, that's it for a summary. But,
Nice.
that's about today. I mean, for my part. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Yoshi.
Well, nice. Casey, I have one question.
What if the tools have the similar kind of description, maybe little difference? So how do you?
No, that's who define the tools, right? So you need to be clear. You need to be clear. Well, I don't know. That's part I don't know, right? So, but you need to be clear description, differentiator, etc. Because you.
What's the question?
Question is actually the tools have the similar description, little extra. Means version 1, version 2 tool, which are defined in the same stack. So how does AI decides actually? I mean, which one it has to choose? Get weather API, or get weather API with a little more extra information. So the description, it searches and it must broadcast the call based on the description, right? So if it has the second one has the same description with little extra, how does it decide? Because AI doesn't really understand, but it predicts like.
Well, so in my view, AI is just lazy. At the end of the day, it'll give you an answer just to give you an answer. And I think back to your point, I'll just pick one without it, and that's where the prompt engineering that what she was talking about is just so critical. You know, is that upfront orchestration and stuff like that is critical, and helping it to differentiate between path 1 and path 2. You know, otherwise it'll just do whatever the hell it wants to do, and you'll get an answer like, well, that was kind of what I wanted, but not everything.
70%.
Yeah, like 70%, right? Or it might just give you, something that doesn't make any sense at all. So
Yeah. If you can answer your question, I think you are the other side of sure, you're making evidence.
yeah,
If you can answer that question, you are kind of other side of people, not using evidence.
So what I took away from what you said was provide the factual tools where you can, right? Don't rely on LLM, where you can get facts from a website that knows how to get weather. And then use LLM for decision-making within the workflow where it makes sense to make decisions about maybe it is, which interface am I going to use? But if your prompt's not good enough to tell it, it's going to pick one, right? It's just going to be random. You're not going to know.
And also I read in the LLM there is a accuracy versus the most accuracy and versus the new variety of answer. Maybe that accuracy works here with the words of the context. I just don't know this thing. I'm new to AI.
So the way I look at this from our product perspective and CM Evolve IT, we have lots of good hard facts that are metadata about code, right? We've got an LLM that can do things like tell us what does a particular program do with some relative accuracy, whatever, 70, 80, 90%.
yeah,
But if I can, in Kyosho, we already have this to some extent. We have something we'll talk about this afternoon called bot, an EV bot, that is a combination of factual query and LLM overlay for understanding. And so the more we can use those together and also even begin to use more of the metadata as input to the LLM, so we've got more control over the information going in. Now, hopefully we get better and better information out of the whole process and with highly formatted, results.
Yeah, like the less open-ended and generic your prompt is, the better it's just going to be, because its real strength is being able to look at millions of instances and using that to narrow down on what you're trying to do. I'm not saying anyone really should be doing this, but like, what's the weather in Japan? Well, weatherchannel.com has, like, that's not the source you should be doing. It's like, I have the stack of documents. Please summarize what all this means. Like, that is what it should be looking at and what it can be doing, because it has seen this more times than we have, just because it's been fed so much information. And I mean, in business solutions it should be things like that where you're tailoring. I have this specific problem. I have this highly repeatable thing that I need summarized or analyzed or something. That's what it's going to be really good at.
And that's kind of my experience is that's the best use of AI is to give you, and everybody talks about summaries, right? Because summaries are human consumed, and you can make judgments about the summaries, and it many times doesn't need to be maybe 100% of the answer because it is a summary. And the more you can RAG has a big impact there too, right? So if you can make sure that it's taking answers only from the documents in the RAG, rather than making something up from, the model, now you've got more control. At least you're knowing everything you're getting is coming from the input data that you're giving it.
Yeah, I'm kind of involved in something like documentation. So so there's a step, right? So you determine first this document is kind of what kind of type of document. It could be invoice or could be anything, right? And then also combines the OCR scanner, or the logically you can scan, take each page as screenshot, right, image, and then each screen, what I'm kind of doing that, okay, if that's include any page including schedule on the PowerPoint or whatever PDF. Okay, if we detect the schedule, let's extract the schedule as a nice format to use it. And then that can be go to some future prediction of what's gonna happen for that particular subject. And then, well, that's, of course, if you visit each document, you can extract that, but you can see it. But normally, that's only for human. It's a little hard to make the data-wise or even to put the calendar. So, but if you detect something and you detect of a type, etc., and you can make a kind of flow to automate things like that, like a future event extract from this. And so we use lots of things. But yeah, of course, the AI, what AI can do better versus what other thing can do better. So you don't use 100%.
You have to target the right thing. That's really all it is.
And then, of course, behind the scenes, they improving drastically. So,
Yeah.
So your effort maybe,
I mean,
So everything
but
you're
here-
saying is invalid in 6 to 12 months.
Well, it doesn't.
You gotta reapply.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Well, it's like you're not going to go to Wikipedia to look up how to do open heart surgery, but you'll look at Wikipedia to like look up some random fact or something. It's the same idea as this. It's the thing this thing is built for.